Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Today I'm going to show you how to fix the hover color not working when you press the button in Microsoft Access. In other words, when you've got a hover button and you're setting a hover color, like let's say normally it's green, if you hover the mouse over it, it turns yellow. If you click it, you can set it to another color like red. But guess what? Once it's clicked, once it's pressed down, the hover effect no longer works. So that's what we're going to deal with in today's video. Today's question comes from James in Wichita, Kansas. By the way, if you're ever in Wichita, Kansas, go to the Tanganyika Wildlife Park. They have penguins that you can swim with. My wife and I did it last year. It was fantastic. We love penguins. Anyways, James is one of my Learning Connection members. And James says, I'm trying to set up a toggle button that changes from green to red depending on its state and shows yellow when the mouse hovers over it. The hover effect works fine when the toggle is in its default unpressed state, but it doesn't work once the button has been selected. The text on the toggle changes correctly between rehire green and do not rehire red, but the yellow hover color stops working after the button is pressed. Unfortunately, James, that's the default behavior of Microsoft Access. That's how toggle buttons behave. When you hover over them when they're unpressed, they'll go to that yellow color or whatever you set it to. When they're pressed down, hover stops working. Why? I don't know. This is something that the Access team should probably fix. But with a little VBA, we can fix it ourselves. It's a tiny little bit of work, but I'll show you how to make it happen. Now, since you're already able to change the toggle text, right, from rehire to do not rehire, I'll assume you know a little bit of VBA because you're going to need some VBA to do this. So this will be a developer level lesson. What does that mean? Well, if you've never taken any VBA classes before or you want to learn how, go watch my Intro to VBA video. It's about 20 minutes long. It'll teach you everything you need to know to get started. And there will be a couple other videos that I'm going to recommend as we're going along, but you don't need to know them beforehand. I'll give you the deets. Okay, so here I am in my Tech Help free template. This is a database you can grab off my website if you want a copy. And let's go to the customer form. And on here, I've got a checkbox for is active, right? Let's make a toggle button that'll do pretty much the same thing. And I'm going to put it down here in the bottom so it's not in anybody's way. If you've followed my videos for any length of time, I'm not a huge fan of toggle buttons. I've never really liked them, but that's just me. That's a personal preference. Toggle buttons are right there. Click it, drag one down here. There you go. By default, and if you want colors to work, you have to use toggle button styles. And if you go to the Format tab over here, you'll see there's a theme, not styles, themes. You have to use a theme. You can turn that off and then it looks like a boring button. But you got to turn that on if you want to change the colors, okay? So the first thing is, let's give this guy a good name, not just toggle 30. I'm going to call this is active toggle, because we already have an is active, that's the checkbox. And I'm going to leave the checkbox there so you can see that it works when this guy is checked. Now, normally we'd set the control source to what we want this button to be bound to. In this case, is active. Yes, you can have two controls that are bound to the same field. Put a caption in it like is active, right? That goes in there. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's go up maybe 18 point or whatever. And then there's some colors you can play with. Now you got foreground colors and background colors. For the purposes of class, I'm not going to mess with the foreground colors. I'm going to leave it all black. We're just going to change the background color of the button. Okay? Back color is when the button is not pressed. In other words, it's false. It's a zero state, just like when this thing is not checked. All right? So when this is not active, I want to make that red. So the back color, we're going to make red. I'm going to click this button here. And I'm going to come down to red. I like to use standard colors because if you use theme colors and the user changes the theme, if you allow them to, then your button colors will change. I like to stick with standard colors. Again, this is a me preference. This is what I like to do. So I'm going to go with red with back color for the button if it's not pressed. The pressed color is here. When they press it down, let's make it go to green. And then you got the hover color when the user hovers over the button. That'll be yellow. Okay? All right, so let's see what that looks like. Save it, close it, open it. All right, is active is green because this one's checked on, right? If I hover over it, oh, nothing happens. If I check it off, oh, look at that. The hover is working now, right? The hover effect only works when the button is not pressed, which I think is dumb, but that's what the problem is. That's what we're dealing with today. Now, here's the situation. There's all kinds of events you can try using. There's mouse over events and all that. None of them work well. I've tried this before in years past. None of them work well. The only thing that I have found that works well is to use 2 toggle buttons and swap them. And you're always going to have one that's depressed, so you always get the hover effect. And as soon as you click this one, you make the other one visible, but it's unpressed. You just change the caption. The user won't be able to tell the difference once it's finished. Okay, it's really cool. Here we go. So the first thing we have to do is unbind this thing. We have to use unbound toggle buttons so that we're not bound to the field. We're going to set the field value ourselves. All right, so come over here into the data tab and get rid of the control source. So it's an unbound button, which means now you can do all you want to it. You can check it, you can uncheck it, but it's not setting that value. So we'll have to set the value ourselves in code. Okay. Now, since this guy has the hover effect when it's red, I'm going to make this the is not active button. Okay. And we're going to change its name to is not active, just because we already set the colors. All right. Now, make a copy of this button. Copy, paste, Control C, Control V. Put it right over here. This will be our is active button. Change the name, is active. And, oh, is active is already in use. Duh, my fault. Is active toggle. And then we're going to flip the colors. So the back color is going to be green. And the pressed back color, where are you? The pressed color right there is going to be red. All right, we just flipped them basically. All right, save it, close it, take a look. All right, so we got 2 buttons, and no matter what, their hover is always working, as long as they're not pressed. Okay? Now, the first thing we have to do is show or hide the appropriate button depending on the value of is active. And you can hide this if you want to, or you probably don't even need to have that on the field, or on the form. But we're going to hide or show whichever button we need to in our form current event as we move from record to record, so we display the appropriate button. All right, that's the first step. So go to the forms properties, go to events, find on current. All right, now we're going to come in here and we're going to say the is active toggle dot visible. The visible property of the is active toggle button is going to be equal to is active. So if is active is true, this button shows up. Okay? If not, is not active toggle dot visible equals not is active. So if it's not active, the other button will show up. See, it'll show or hide the appropriate button in the form current event, which fires when you move from record to record. If you want to learn more about the on current event, go watch this video. All right, let's see what we got. Save it, close it, open it, and okay, active, active. Move to the next one. Okay, see, not active, not active. So we're getting there. So we're showing the appropriate button. All right, that's step 1. All right, now these buttons are not bound to anything. So if I click on the button, nothing happens, right? There's nothing going on with the is active value. So we have to set that value ourselves. Okay, so in the is active button, if they click on that, we got to set is active to false and vice versa. So now let's go into here. Let's go into its after update event. You can use on click or you can use after update. I prefer after update in case the button is changed by any other means. Okay, so in here, we're going to say is active equals false. Okay, and then if the other button is clicked, we're going to say is active equals true. Save it. And then come back up here. Okay, now I'm not active. If I click that, all right, I just set it to is active. But I'm not seeing the other button, though, because it's hidden. All right, so after this guy is clicked, I want to then show the other button. Okay, come back to your code. By the way, what I do, folks, you can't see this because it's off the screen, but whenever I'm working between Access and the VBA window, I leave them overlapping just a little bit like that. So when you see me over here, and I'm on the Access screen and I say go back to your code window, All I'm doing is just sliding my mouse over here a little bit and clicking on the code window. I know that's not evident in a lot of my videos, but it's the tricks we have to do to make things seamless. But I also put a button up here so I can flip back and forth, right? And I leave this a little bit smaller than the access window so I can just click on the title bar. See? All right, so what were we doing? Oh yeah, we're showing the other button. Okay, so if is active toggle is clicked, we set is active to false, is not active toggle dot visible equals true. And then we'll do the same thing down here in reverse. The is active toggle dot visible equals true. Okay, save that. Debug compile once in a while. Make sure everything's good. All right, come back over here, close it, reopen it. And yes, every time I make a code change, I close and reopen my form. Just gives everything a chance to reset. All right, is active is good. Click. All right, there's the is not active button. The value changed. Click over here. All right, that worked. Okay, good. Everything's looking fine. Except now I got to hide the other button, the one that I just clicked on. Right? All right, let's go do that next. Let's come back over here. So in this one, when they click on is active toggle, we have to show the other button and then hide this one. So is active toggle dot visible equals false. Let's try this. Save that. All right, let's open it up. Click, and then, oh, you can't hide a control that has focus. What does that mean? Well, the is active toggle is the button I just clicked on, so it has the focus. It's where the if you're tabbing around, that's where it's at. That's where the cursor's at. It's sitting on that button. So you can't hide a control that has the focus, but we can move the focus, right? So hit end. So before we do that, we have to say is not active toggle dot set focus. That'll move the focus to that button. Then we can close, or then we can hide the button we just clicked on. Make sense? And of course, if you want to learn more about set focus, go watch this video. All right, let's do the same thing down here. So now we got to say is active toggle dot set focus, and then is not active toggle dot visible equals false. We got to hide the button after we move off of it. Okay, now let's try it. All right, click. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Is active, is not active, is active, is not active. But wait, it doesn't look right. The colors are not quite right. When I click on this, okay, hold on. All right, is not active is red. Okay, click. All right, is active is green. Okay, all right. Click, but wait, now is not active is green, and is active is red. They're flipping values. Why is that? They're flipping colors. Well, the reason is because when we click on that button, we're changing its value, right? The invisible toggle button has been toggled, so we basically have to untoggle the button. I know, it's one more step. How do we untoggle the button? Well, the one we just hid, we say is active toggle equals false, and down here is not active toggle equals false. We just untoggled the button that we clicked on. So it goes back to its unpressed state, because only in the unpressed state will that hover property work. And wait, someone's beaming in. Hold on. I think it's more tribbles. Yeah, got a transporter pad full of tribbles again. Get those out of here. Send them over to the Klingons. All right. Let's see what we got now. Ready? Okay. Click. Click. Oh, is active is green. Click. Is not active is red. Click. Is active. Is not active. Is active. And then look at that. It's working. It's working. It's working pretty good too. All right. Next, we don't want the user to have to jump between two different locations to click these buttons, right? Unless you're playing an April Fool's prank. That was one of my April Fool's planks. Say that 10 times fast. April Fool's pranks. Man, that's a tongue twister. April Fool's pranks was to, when they hover over a button, have it move over slightly so they can't click on it. That one wasn't very popular, by the way. But all we have to do now is literally just move one button over the top of the other one. Like that. Save it. Close it. Open it. And now we got is active, and with the hover, click. Is not active. With the hover still works. Click. Isn't that cute? Look at that. We fixed it. We fixed it. It only took we won't count that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It only took 12 lines of code to fix what should be a built-in property of the hover button. I'm sorry. It should work that way. You should be able to hover over a button that's pressed. Access team, get on that one. They're cool guys, too. I met them at the... I met 3 of them at the MVP Summit in Redmond. And they're really awesome guys, and they listen to user feedback. They just got so much on their plate, and there's only a couple of them, so they can't possibly cover all the things on my list. But this is one of them. This is a basic usability thing, right? But it's working. And you can actually change, there's another property in here. Like if you take the opposite button, like you're not going to see them when they're pressed, right? Because the other one becomes visible now. So what you could do is, if you want to make the pressed color something different, like you could go, the pressed color is black with a pressed forecolor of white, and do that for both buttons. You'll see you get a cool effect here. Pressed forecolor will go white, and then the pressed color will go black, or whatever you want it to be. You can make them different too. All right. Now, what happens is, since that button's going to disappear, you get a cool effect. Watch. When they actually click it, it goes black. See? Hover, off, click, you get that black on white color, or white on black color. See, that's me holding the mouse button down, right? Click, hold it down. See? So it actually gives you another option. What to actually display the button when they are clicking on it. So that's pretty cool, right? So we just enhanced the toggle buttons, people. Did you like this stuff? You like learning with me? Do I make VBA easy for you? Yeah? Okay, cool. Come and check out my lessons. I'm working on Developer 50 right now. I got 50 developer lessons. Lots and lots of lessons. All kinds of stuff. Yeah, the first ones were kind of boring because I didn't put detailed screenshots together. Hey, this was back in like 2013 or whatever. But as I went on, I started adding more notes to them. So the slides got better and better. See? Yeah. But the content is all still great, even though the slides aren't fantastic. But you can see all the stuff I cover. I got lots and lots and lots and lots of lessons for you to learn VBA the right way. And what did I transaction? We did transactions in Developer 49. We do SQL transactions, right? Those are good for like bank transfers where you want to make sure that both transactions took place. So cool stuff. But there you go. That's how you fix your toggle buttons. That's your tech help video for today. Hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button right now and give me a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. And make sure you click that bell icon and select all to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. Do you need help with your Microsoft Access project? Whether you need a tutor, a consultant, or a developer to build something for you, check out my Access Developer Network. It's a directory I put together personally of Access experts who can help with your project. Visit my website to learn more. Any links or other resources that I mentioned in the video can be found in the description text below the video. Just click on that Show More link right there. YouTube's pretty good about hiding that, but it's there. Just look for it. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, tables, all that stuff. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? And if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. That's it. And it's free for members of my YouTube channel at any level. Speaking of memberships, if you're interested in joining my channel, you get all kinds of awesome perks. Silver members get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, and there's hundreds of them by now. They also get one free beginner class each month, and yes, those are for my full courses. Gold members get the previous perks plus access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos. Plus, you get access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions and all kinds of source code that I use. And gold members get one free expert class every month after completing the beginner series. Platinum members get all of the previous perks, plus they get all of my beginner courses, all of them from every subject. And you get one free advanced or developer class every month after finishing the expert series. And you can become a diamond sponsor and have your name listed on the sponsor page on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time.